The case of Sade Robinson not only captivated Milwaukee, but the nation. Behind the case was a detective who made this her only assignment, working to solve Robinson's murder from day one.
The lead detective is opening up to our Aaron Maben about this case. Their conversation begins where Robinson's leg washed ashore, Warnemont Park in Cudahy.
On April 1st, 2024, a 19-year-old college student named Sade Robinson got ready for a night out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She had plans to meet a man named Maxwell Anderson. It was their first date. She never came back. Surveillance cameras later showed Sade entering Anderson's apartment building that evening. There is no footage of her leaving. Just hours later, at 3:47 a.m. on April 2nd, emergency responders arrived at a vehicle fire near Warnemont Park in Cudahy. The car, a 2020 Honda Civic, was completely engulfed in flames. The car was registered to Sade. She was missing. Her phone was off. Her family hadn't heard from her. A missing persons report was filed. Later that same day, a severed human leg washed ashore near Lake Michigan. DNA would confirm it belonged to Sade Robinson. Over the next several days, more body parts surfaced. Her torso, an arm, internal organs, all found in different locations along the shoreline. The crime scene stretched across multiple neighborhoods. Milwaukee police quickly linked the evidence back to Maxwell Anderson, the last person seen with her. A search of his apartment revealed blood evidence in several rooms. Forensic testing confirmed it was Sade's. His phone contained disturbing photographs of her in a vulnerable state, unconscious or already dead. Building surveillance caught him moving suspiciously with large, heavy bags. Maxwell Anderson was arrested. He was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, arson, and hiding a corpse. He pleaded not guilty, but the forensic trail, digital evidence, and witness accounts all pointed in one direction. Welcome to True Crime Unmasked. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. The show where we uncover the disturbing crimes tearing communities apart and the haunting truths hidden behind closed doors. These are real stories, real individuals, real consequences. Stay tuned for more captivating stories. Now let's dive in. Sade Robinson was a 19-year-old college student living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She was enrolled at Milwaukee Area Technical College, a 2-year public institution that offers various vocational and technical programs. Sade was studying culinary arts. Her academic focus showed she was interested in building a career in food service or hospitality. She had expressed clear goals for her future and had been working steadily toward completing her program. People who knew her described her as focused, active, and passionate about cooking. She often spent time learning new recipes and watching cooking videos. Her dedication to culinary studies was evident in her academic performance. Instructors and classmates noted her discipline and punctuality. She was not known for skipping classes or missing deadlines. She approached school seriously and showed strong signs of being self-driven. Sade maintained a close relationship with her family. She lived near or possibly with her mother and had a strong connection with her younger siblings. Family members describe her as reliable and respectful. She was often involved in family routines and appeared to be a regular presence in the household. Her social media, where public, reflected a typical life of a college student with family ties and educational pursuits. There were no posts or signs of risky behavior or criminal activity. Sade had recently reached important milestones in her studies. She was on track to finish her program and was considering internship options. She spoke to close friends about opening a restaurant someday. Her long-term plan was to either work in a professional kitchen or start her own food business. She was also exploring ways to improve her skills in international cuisines. Her goal was to graduate, find stable work, and eventually become an entrepreneur in the culinary field. She did not have any known problems with law enforcement. Her name had never been linked to criminal investigations or civil complaints. Public records and school reports showed no disciplinary actions against her. She stayed out of trouble, followed rules, and focused on her school and personal life. According to information from her friends and family, Sade used dating apps casually. The specific app she used to meet Maxwell Anderson has not been confirmed in public records. However, It was stated during legal proceedings that the two had made contact through an online dating platform. She had reportedly chatted with Anderson for a short time before agreeing to meet him in person. There were no signs that she had raised concerns about the interaction. She told at least one person that she was going out with someone new and did not express fear or hesitation. There is no record of Sade being involved in prior incidents involving strangers from the internet. She had not reported any stalking, harassment, or threats in the months leading up to her death. Friends and classmates did not recall her mentioning any ongoing issues or suspicious behavior from people she interacted with online. At the time of her disappearance, she appeared to be living a stable life centered around school, family, and casual social activity. Photos of Sade that circulated in the media showed a young woman with a warm smile and neat appearance. Her physical health seemed good, and she kept up with her academic and personal routines. Her phone data and digital footprint reflected the habits of a student juggling school responsibilities and a limited social life. On April 1st, 2024, 19-year-old college student Sade Robinson agreed to meet Maxwell Anderson, a 33-year-old man she had been talking to. Their communication leading up to the meeting is not fully detailed in public records, but it is believed that they connected through casual interaction, possibly online or via mutual acquaintances. There is no evidence of any previous in-person meeting between them before that day. Maxwell Anderson's background was not widely known at the time. Public reports do not list a complete criminal history for him, but multiple behaviors in the days leading up to and following April 1st later raised red flags. His actions after the encounter with Sade were what eventually drew the full attention of law enforcement. Sade and Anderson met up that evening in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Based on police findings and witness accounts, they went out for dinner and drinks at a local bar and restaurant. The exact establishment has not been named in court documents or news releases, but it is confirmed they were seen together that night at multiple locations. After spending time out, they returned to Anderson's apartment. Surveillance footage from the residential building showed both individuals entering together. This marked the last confirmed sighting of Sade while she was alive. The timestamp on the footage aligns with the timeline built later by investigators. There were no signs of distress recorded on the footage. Both individuals entered the premises without any struggle or hesitation. However, from that point forward, Sade was never seen again. Once Sade entered the apartment with Anderson on the night of April 1st, 2024, she vanished from all public view. Surveillance cameras within and around the building never captured her leaving. This became one of the first key indicators used by detectives during the missing person investigation. The next major development occurred several hours later. At exactly 3:47 a.m. on April 2nd, 2024, emergency services responded to a car fire near Warnemont Park in Cudahy, a lakeside suburb of Milwaukee. When firefighters arrived at the scene, they discovered that the vehicle ablaze was a 2020 Honda Civic. The car was later identified through registration as belonging to Sade Robinson. Sade was not found inside the vehicle or nearby. Due to the intensity of the fire and its suspicious timing, law enforcement immediately classified the situation as a potential criminal act. They secured the area, collected forensic evidence from the vehicle, and began trying to trace the vehicle's recent movement. The police then contacted Sade's family to confirm her whereabouts. She had not returned home and had not made contact since her night out. At this point, Sade was officially reported missing. Within hours, her case drew attention from the Milwaukee Police Department, who began reviewing security footage from areas Sade had visited earlier in the evening. This led to the confirmation of her presence at Anderson's apartment and the discovery that she had never exited the building. Investigators obtained search warrants to collect surveillance video from both public and private cameras, as well as phone and digital data from involved parties. Analysis of mobile phone activity, text messages, and tower pings helped place both Sade and Anderson at key locations throughout the night. Additional footage from inside the apartment complex showed Anderson using an elevator, carrying large, heavy-looking bags after Sade had entered and failed to reappear. As forensic teams examined the burned vehicle, they found no human remains inside. However, burned clothing materials, fragments of personal items, and signs of accelerants were identified. This further solidified suspicions that foul play was involved. The car fire, lack of communication from Sade, and absence of her exit from the building combined to form a high-priority missing persons case. Law enforcement categorized the case as a suspicious disappearance and immediately began building a timeline with Maxwell Anderson as the last known contact. Later that same day, around noon, a severed human leg was discovered along the shoreline of Lake Michigan, near the same general area where the burning car had been found. The leg was partially decomposed and showed signs of being intentionally dismembered. It was sent for forensic testing. In the days that followed, additional body parts were discovered along the shoreline and in surrounding wooded areas. These included a torso, an arm, and portions of internal organs. Each body part was found in separate locations, indicating they had been scattered intentionally. Some were discovered by local residents, while others were found through coordinated searches by law enforcement using cadaver dogs and aerial surveillance. Investigators sent the remains for DNA testing, which confirmed that the body parts belonged to Sade Robinson. The confirmation came through both DNA analysis and matching identifiable tattoos on the recovered limb to photographs on Sade's social media accounts. No full body was recovered. Only portions were found. This confirmed that the victim had been dismembered post-mortem. While a full autopsy could not be completed due to the incomplete remains, forensic experts suggested that the likely cause of death was either blunt force trauma to the head or strangulation, based on early analysis of the torso and the condition of the neck area. However, because the full body was never recovered, no official cause of death was publicly released. The discovery of the remains shifted the case from a missing person investigation to a homicide investigation. Attention turned to the last person seen with Sade, Maxwell Anderson, a 33-year-old man who had taken her out on a date the night of April 1st, 2024. Sade had been seen entering Anderson's apartment building on surveillance footage, but was never seen exiting. Based on this footage and phone data, police obtained a search warrant for Anderson's apartment. The search was conducted by crime scene technicians and forensic investigators. Inside the apartment, officers discovered traces of blood in multiple locations, including the bathroom, the bedroom, and the living room. Forensic luminol tests revealed blood spatter on the floors and walls that had been cleaned but not fully removed. The quantity and spread of the blood indicated a violent struggle had occurred. More disturbing evidence was found on Anderson's mobile phone. Investigators recovered images and videos showing Sade either unconscious or deceased in his apartment. The timestamps on these media files coincided with a time frame during which Sade was last known to be alive. Some images showed Sade in unnatural positions on a mattress in Anderson's bedroom. Surveillance footage from the apartment's elevator and hallway cameras showed Anderson moving large, black trash bags using a cart and entering and exiting the building multiple times in the early hours of April 2nd. These bags were consistent with the size and shape needed to carry dismembered body parts. The footage also showed Anderson taking the elevator down with no accompanying person, and his behavior appeared calculated and deliberate. Forensic testing confirmed that the blood found inside the apartment belonged to Sade Robinson. This was determined through DNA comparison with her personal items and family members. Blood samples matched her profile at a 99.99% confidence level. Witness statements from neighbors confirmed seeing Sade enter the apartment building with Anderson on April 1st. No witnesses reported seeing her leave. Other residents reported hearing strange noises at night, but did not alert police at the time. Anderson was also seen using cleaning supplies and transporting items from his unit during early morning hours. All of the physical evidence, including the DNA from the remains, photos from Anderson's phone, blood inside the apartment, and surveillance footage, was compiled and used by law enforcement to establish a timeline of events. Investigators concluded that Sade was killed inside Anderson's apartment, dismembered, and her body parts were later disposed of in public areas to delay discovery and destroy evidence. After investigators recovered Sade Robinson's body parts along Lake Michigan and connected the evidence to 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson, police moved swiftly. Surveillance footage, phone records, and forensic evidence from his apartment directly linked him to the disappearance and suspected murder of the 19-year-old college student. Maxwell Anderson was arrested just days after the first body part, a severed leg, was found near Warnemont Park on April 2nd, 2024. At the time of arrest, Anderson did not admit guilt. Instead, he invoked his right to remain silent and was assigned a public defender. During his arraignment, he entered a plea of not guilty to all charges brought against him. This triggered a lengthy legal process. Due to the disturbing nature of the crime and the age difference between the victim and suspect, the court ordered a full mental health evaluation to determine whether Anderson was competent to stand trial. A licensed forensic psychiatrist was assigned to examine Anderson's mental state, assess his understanding of the charges, and determine if he could participate in his defense in a rational manner. The evaluation concluded that Maxwell Anderson was fit to stand trial. Medical professionals found no sign of mental illness that would impair his ability to comprehend the charges or court procedures. Based on these findings, the court scheduled a full jury trial in Milwaukee County Circuit Court. The trial began in mid-May 2025 and lasted for approximately 3 weeks. Prosecutors built their case around extensive forensic and digital evidence. This included surveillance footage from Anderson's apartment complex showing Sade entering but never leaving. Video of Anderson moving large bags via the building elevator late at night. Photos on Anderson's phone, some appearing to show Sade unconscious or lifeless. Blood evidence found throughout Anderson's apartment, confirmed to match Sade's DNA. Cell phone data showing Anderson's movements on the night Sade disappeared. Forensic testimony confirming the dismemberment pattern of Sade's body. Fire investigation reports proving the car fire was an intentional act of arson. Defense attorneys argued that there was no direct evidence of the murder act itself, only circumstantial evidence. They questioned whether the death had occurred in Anderson's apartment. However, prosecutors responded by pointing out that the combination of blood evidence, photographic proof, and Anderson's suspicious movements strongly supported the murder and dismemberment theory. Witnesses included forensic scientists, digital forensic analysts, responding officers, and medical examiners. The prosecution argued that Anderson killed Sade Robinson in his apartment, attempted to destroy evidence by burning her car, and dispose of her body in multiple public locations. On June 6, 2025, the jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict on all counts. The courtroom was closed to media during the verdict reading, but court records confirmed the following findings. Maxwell Anderson was found guilty of the following charges. First-degree intentional homicide. This charge carried the most severe penalty under Wisconsin law. The court ruled that Anderson intentionally caused the death of Sade Robinson with premeditation, or at minimum, deliberate intent. Mutilating a corpse. Forensic evidence and testimony confirmed that Sade's body had been dismembered using tools found in Anderson's apartment. This charge was applied due to the deliberate dismemberment and scattering of body parts across public areas. Arson of property, not his own. The burning of Sade's 2020 Honda Civic near Warnemont Park was ruled an act of arson. Investigators stated that an accelerant was used and the fire originated inside the vehicle. The act was considered an attempt to cover up the crime. Hiding a corpse. The disposal of Sade's remains into different parts of the lake and nearby locations constituted a violation under state law for improperly concealing a human body after death. Each charge was supported by evidence that satisfied the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. As a result of convictions, Anderson faces life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Wisconsin state law mandates a life sentence for first-degree intentional homicide unless mitigating circumstances are found, which in this case, none were presented or accepted by the court. The court scheduled Anderson's formal sentencing for August 15, 2025. At the sentencing hearing, victim impact statements are expected to be read by family members of Sade Robinson. However, the sentence itself is not expected to change based on emotional testimony, as life imprisonment is already mandatory. Many members of the Milwaukee community found the case especially alarming because it showed how a seemingly normal first date could turn deadly. Sade was a young college student. She had been studying culinary arts at Milwaukee Area Technical College. She had no known issues with the law and had been pursuing her education. The idea that a 19-year-old could go missing and later be found dismembered after meeting someone raised serious questions and fears for young women and their families. As the investigation continued and more information about the case was released, such as the discovery of Sade's severed body parts in Lake Michigan, and the fact that her burned car had been found near Warnemont Park. Public interest grew. The case was frequently discussed on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now X, and TikTok. Many people who did not know Sade personally still shared their thoughts online, expressing disbelief at what had happened and calling for justice. Sade's name was turned into a hashtag by her friends and classmates, who posted photos of her and clips of her time at school and in cooking labs. Friends and family members organized a vigil to remember Sade. It took place on the west side of Chicago, where some of her extended family lived. People gathered to honor her memory and to show support for her mother and siblings. The vigil included a moment of silence, a prayer, and a balloon release. Many attendees wore T-shirts printed with Sade's face, and candles were lit in her name. The vigil was covered by several local news stations. Reporters interviewed attendees who said they wanted people to remember Sade not just as a victim, but as a hard-working young woman with goals. Video clips from the vigil were shared online and went viral within hours, helping spread awareness about the case. After the vigil, discussions online shifted to broader topics. Some users began comparing Sade's case to the 2017 death of Kenneka Jenkins, another high-profile case involving a young woman whose death raised concerns about safety while socializing. In both cases, the women were young, black, and in unfamiliar environments when they were last seen alive. People drew parallels between the two stories and discussed how women, especially minority communities, often go missing or are harmed without immediate public attention. This comparison led to a wider conversation on social media and in online forums about the dangers of meeting strangers, especially through dating apps. Although it's still unclear exactly how Sade met Anderson, since police have not confirmed the platform or method. Many people assume it was an online interaction. This led to posts and videos warning others to take safety precautions when going on dates. Some shared safety tips like meeting in public places, sharing locations with trusted friends, and doing background checks when possible. Some influencers and online creators used the case to create awareness videos and true crime breakdowns. These videos reached thousands of views and were shared further across platforms, increasing the case's visibility. Several commenters noted how dangerous it had become to trust anyone you meet online, no matter how normal they may seem at first. If this story touched you deeply and made you question what's real, be sure to tap the like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. For more gripping true crime stories that unravel the hidden truths behind heartbreaking cases, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest episodes, investigations, and powerful conversations. Thank you for joining us on this journey to uncover the truth and fight for justice. Together, we can shine a light where it's needed most. Stay safe, stay alert, and we'll see you in the next story.